All right, I got one. And we're gonna call the meeting to order. And we do have a full, back, you've got a full load now, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Regular members and two alternates.
excuse me,
You got all your regular members and two alternates.
correct. And that's all that we can have on the board, so.
Yep. You're at capacity.
We're at capacity. Let's see, approval of minutes, August 12, 2024.
You look good to me.
They
Yep.
did me too, but I don't always catch things.
I didn't catch anything.
Yeah, I read it.
All right, then let's have a motion for,
I move the board accept the minutes of August 12th as written.
and anybody second?
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right. Next is old business, and we don't have any land use. Old business, we do have development review ordinance David and Joan Losi, map 31 lot 5E, application MD 0124. To subdivide the lot into 4 parcels. And Mr. Losi, you have information that you've given us and new information that you've given us, correct?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman and members of the board, for the record, my name is David Losi. I'm here with my wife, Joan. We are your applicant. I don't know that we have anything that's terribly new, but I think that what I've done is I've asked our surveyor to take the comments that you made collectively over the last couple of meetings. And in addition to that, look at the ordinance and go through each of the requirements in the ordinance, check them off. I believe he did that, brought over to my house the other day, we went through them. I think we got them. With one exception, which I'll get into in a second, and if not, please tell me and we'll complete it, but I think we. The exception is this. We don't have soil evaluation on lot 3. On Labor Day, I'm coming out here with a soil evaluator, the only day we schedule it, because they're so flat out. So I think we're complete and set with regard with the exception of that soil. That's all I would ask you to do is to approve a condition on our coming in with a proper soil evaluation, which we can deliver to David that as soon as we obtain it. Otherwise, I think it is the same as you've seen before with the addition of a few things that you asked for. But I think we're in all ways compliant.
Is these the maps up
Yeah,
there?
that's exactly what's on the board right there. Yep.
I delivered 9 or 10 copies to Dave earlier.
Maybe we could pass them around.
Yeah.
Got now?
Oh.
we better not.
Can you get it any bigger?
Well, we wanted you to be able to see it, so.
Yeah.
You want a copy, Karen?
No, thank you.
Okay.
If you want, thanks. Do we have a quick list of the things that we asked for?
It's 45-48.
Yeah, 45-48 was the main thing.
In addition to that, I think you wanted the cemetery put on there.
I think that's on 45-48.
Yeah.
I could put those maps in.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. No problem.
-48, right?
Right. going through the list. Application for approval of minor subdivision include the following, the key. Proposed name of subdivision, which we've got, let's see. Identifying title, assessor's map, and lot numbers. Field survey of the boundary line. Of the subdivision giving complete descriptive data by bearing and distance made and certified by licensed land surveyor. The corners of the subdivision shall, and each lot shall be located on the ground marked by monuments. The plan shall indicate the type of monument set around or found at each corner lot. And I think I see a 3/4 rebar found, I see a 3/4 rebar found. I'm sorry?
5/8 rebar.
Yeah, I see one in every corner.
Yeah,
You asked that those be flagged, with a little flag on them, and also they be spray painted. I was here last Wednesday and walked it, and they were all there as of last Wednesday.
okay, good,
Who knows what's happened since, but
right? That's good. So that's there, let's see, copy of the deed from which the survey was based. We have that,
That was part of the original application.
part of the original, right?
Yeah.
Copy of all deed restrictions, easements, right of ways, and other encumbrances currently affecting the property.
That should have been in the deed that came with the.
Indication on type of sewage disposal to be used in subdivision, it's all,
Oh. Yeah, and Mr. Losi, there's a blue line along the shoreline. Do you know what that's denoting?
this line,
Yeah.
Flood hazard.
oh, that's the flood hazard line,
It is.
it's the blue line. The dotted line is the tie line.
The dotted line.
yeah,
Oh,
that blue line has a notation on it up on lot 1 in the corner where it says flood hazard line.
Oh, it does. Oh, yeah, it's
Yeah.
in blue.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Right, I see the shoreline protection district is marked. And the marine activity district.
Mr. Dexter have an easement where his driveway goes across lot 2.
Yes, Steve,
That's his driveway.
his driveway is here, the.
Yeah.
Originally, the Dexter lot was here, and then there's a lot that Jones had here. And Dexter and Jones built that road. And we gave them a 50-foot right of way across this land. However, that, I guess in terms of a change, the road didn't end up quite within the right of way, so we moved the right of way over to accommodate the road. Just a couple of feet, but it's, at least now the road's on the right of way.
But, and then his driveway goes across the corner of lot 2,
It
it looks
does.
like.
It does.
And he has a easement for that.
I'm hesitating because I can't remember the wording of the deed. It was certainly our intent to do that. If not, then we can put it in the deed to lot 2 and get happy to accept that as a condition. I think it was already in that deed.
They'll just need to clarify that.
Being here.
Lots 5 and 6.
And there was somebody that said something about cemetery, and I see there is a cemetery in lot one.
Correct.
So that's necessary.
Yeah, yeah.
Was lot two, what is now we're calling lot two in the second acquisition? So I can look at the deed in the application.
Yes, that's correct. Lot one was, we call lot one, was the original lot 5 and 6 of the
Right.
subdivision.
Right,
We pushed that line down a little bit to just to make it work better, put it down near where the drainage divided.
right.
But yes, the land of lot two came in the acquisition of Shays. Well, Shays,
Yeah,
Shays to
okay.
Dexter to
So that's where I might find if there's an easement for this driveway.
It was Shays to Dexter, Dexter to me. And then me back to Jones, I think. And the Shays didn't create the easement. I did.
Oh.
Which instrument, which deed I put it on, I don't remember, sorry. And as I say, if it's not clear and the board wants it as a condition, we can make it as a condition that any conveyance of lot two would be sold with the notation of an easement in favor of the Dexters for that driveway. No problem with that.
Did the Shays property also include portions of lot 3 or
Yes, it does.
did, or was it all totally part of lot 3? It's so confusing between 2 subdivisions, but
Lot, what is shown as lot 3, lot 2, and Dexter are all part of the Shays property.
And other land, there's that other land of, that's also part of it.
That
was part of
small
it.
portion there was also part of the, yeah.
What, on lot 3, what is the 50-foot wide reservation for potential restoration of Trim Farm Road?
Well, it's interesting, you know, this is called Trim Lane and some people think that the cemetery is a trim cemetery. I don't know who's in there. But out well off this map was the old Trim Farm. You can still see the foundations of the buildings there, the well. There's a wonderful rose bush that I think was right near the front door of the farmhouse, and it's still there. There are a number of the dump is there, where you can find the farm activities. And there was a road that led to the farm, which, where am I? Okay, it came off the main road, the IME road. Up here, at the east side of the Seekman property, which is then, burned. You can see the ruts, and you can see part of an old cedar fence. Cara was nice enough to show me that. I didn't know it existed on her property, but it does. I do know that back here on lot 3 and all the way back through the woods to the farm are these ruts where you can, and partial fence, where you can see that the road went. And I scratched my head and said, why in the world would somebody have a farm over here and not get to it from the main road? There's an answer. The swamp. The headwaters of Otter Creek are a big cedar swamp. Getting through that would be tough today. Lord help us in the 1800s when the farm was created. So I think what they did logic tells me what they did was they got to a solid place and came down, not where Marshall Cove Road is, but where Attorney's driveway is, used to be in Merritt's. That apparently was the old town road, and it came down to a point round about where, Kara Sigmund's property is, and then it went into the woods and out to the farm. Which makes a certain amount of sense. When we first bought the land, I remember walking it with Ace Rollerson. And Ace was talking about when he was a youngster, he said he'd come down, the road didn't go all the way to the shore. It was partway down, and there was a place where you could kind of park or something really down there, and he walked on a trail really down where the boatyard road is. And so that was sort of what I learned about it was from Ace. But that's consistent with what appears, that there was a road here. And if you get east of that, you're in the swamp.
So this would this be what we consider a paper road and not in existence anymore?
It's not in existence. Well, when I first got here, some of the neighbors came and said, we clear that, we keep that thing clear for cross-country skiing. This is back in the 80s. Great. That's fine with me. Since then, two things have happened. There've been some blowdowns, and I've had heart surgery. So I'm not gonna keep up with the blowdowns. I just can't. But the point is that the road, evidence of the road is still there, and but for the blowdowns. In fact, you can walk through there, you can get there. It takes a little bit more work now than it used to. Now, the reason I left it there was, Kara had said to me at one point, she'd like to be able to come in off the old road to her place, enter it from above. And was I interested in coming and connecting through to that? I thought, well, someday, I don't know. So I thought, rather than ignore it, again, let's not ignore it. So yeah, it's there. Something is there. That's the whole extent of it.
So that would be considered access for, say, neighbors to use, basically.
As far as I'm concerned, it is. I don't think everybody agrees that it is. I'm not trying to start a fight. I'm trying to preserve whatever access there is and whatever evidence of access there is. Just make a note that it's there. That's all.
Oh,
I'm Todd Condon from Raymond neighborhood. In fact, I think some of those ruts go very near my land. My story, the story I heard was that it was Maynard Hall or Bob Hall's bulldozer coming in to get the gravel out of there to build Trim Lane on the way out. So who knows what that really is?
I know I wasn't there.
It goes beyond that. What's interesting, that the farm is well beyond where they went to get the gravel, so something was there.
Carol, you got something?
Yeah, so Marshall Cove Road,
Right,
as it is today, was originally Camp Road.
right.
We have not been able to find any discussion in town records that show why the town let go of the real Marshall Cove, which was Merritt's driveway, now Eric Tierney's driveway. That was the real Marshall Cove Road, so that's the road. I understand, not exactly like Dave said, but that road is what came in from the main road partway to the shore, and then people walk down a path. Camp Road was a smaller road until IME came in, and interestingly, it was during the time there was no planning board, and the select people allowed for Marshall Cove to be bumped to the Ruddy Road we have, which is now called Marshall Cove, but it's really Camp Road. And you can, right now today, if you need an emergency call up on Marshall Cove, it will send people down Merritt's driveway, which is now Eric Tierney's driveway. We still can't get proper satellite emergency service because that never went through to Waldo. None of this is registered. So if we call for an ambulance, they get lost at Merritt's driveway still. So it's still a jumble as far as access and safety for all of the households that are part of the original Sunset Acres, and 4 of them that are there before Sunset Acres, so. I mean, part of the mess of all of this, besides the roads that aren't owned by anybody, is, now we're talking 3 subdivisions piled on top, and this would be the 4th subdivision, and we've never clarified road ownership or corrected it so that people have emergency service, so there's a lot of problems with the roads, and it's just error upon error, and I have yet to see any deeds. Have you guys found any deeds to any of the roads? And so all of this boundary survey is somebody's opinion of the boundaries. It's not based on deeds and actual roads, because none of them are owned by anybody by deed. So it's just a really big mess that, because there was no planning board, the select people who had actually a stake in taking over Marshall Cove Road were able to change it, but none of it has minutes. We look back to find any minutes or discussion, none of that is there, and there's no record. I don't know if anybody else found it, but we dug and dug and we have not found the record of discussion. There wasn't a planning board in 1985. So 3 select people signed on a plan without discussion. It's
Well, as
not
far as
legit.
who owns the road, I don't know the answer to that question. I have heard,
That the boatyard owned it,
I'm sorry,
that the boatyard owned it.
that's what I've understood, that's what I've heard,
No
is that
deed.
the boatyard owns it. But far as I have been told, it's never been a town road. It's always been a private road.
If I can show you on this map,
Go ahead.
I don't know if it shows here. It's not the location that Mr. Losey was speaking about, so. This is Marshall Cove Road,
Right,
this was originally a town road.
the dotted line,
Well, 50 feet from the main road, and it stopped where there's a cedar fence to this day, and people walk to the shore. It's a town road because of fishing rights, so from way back in history, this road, which was given to the Merritts, a lovely driveway, but it was a town road. This
I,
is called Marshall Cove Road, but it's actually Camp Road. It's not Marshall Cove Road. It was taken over by the boatyard. They don't own it. They don't have deeds as far as we've been able to dig up. But
says car statement.
please dig them up and show me. I haven't found them. I'm looking, because it would really help to understand who owns these roads, and you can't just claim roads and say you own it. You have to alert everybody in the subdivision, not just 1 or 2 neighbors, but none of this process has been followed. Ever.
All right, is the ownership of Marshall Cove Road germane to this discussion?
Yeah.
How so?
Yeah, well, Mr. Losey was saying I would want to open up this, which I wouldn't, but I sure as heck would love to have a town road, so we have a nice road getting to our house.
I mean, that's not something that's going to be reflected, he has obviously no control over your
Right.
property in the deed, it's merely suggestion. The idea that he is reserving like a portion of that, I think is his own choice,
Well,
that
that's-
doesn't impact
I'm
you.
not interested in it. He said I was, but I would not be interested in that.
Okay, I think
So
we can note that.
that's
Tara
not,
has no interest in
interest.
opening up that, the access to.
no, but I would be interested for the town to kind of look at what happened to Marshall Cove Road.
I think that's a
because
separate order of business.
It is
Yeah.
pertinent
That's something different, like you
to all
said.
of it.
You need to petition the town of.
Right,
So this was combining 2 different roads and stories. I shared with Dave what happened to the original Marshall Cove, and he was saying it was this part,
Yeah.
but I did not say that.
Yeah, I think
This is
the
the
fact
part
that
that
this,
needs to be
this
clear.
subdivision doesn't even touch Marshall Cove Road. Is we shouldn't concern ourselves with it.
So what is the access that these people have to get to their home if it doesn't involve Marshall Cove Road?
Trim lane,
How do they get to Trim Lane?
that's.
By boat?
that's entirely-
I mean, originally,
You
people
could.
got there by boat. We didn't have Marshall Cove access, because it only went
All
partway
right, all
down.
right.
My house was built from the water, so do we cut everybody off? Cut off our access, and we also aren't lined up with sat nav for emergency services.
Everybody at the
Google your
Minimum
house.
Services knows about that road, so
No.
don't say that either.
No.
If they get a call, they're gonna go to some driveway, cause they're not.
They did.
They know.
It
Marshall
happened
Cove
to
Road.
me. It happened to me. I had child, pediatric situation, and they went the wrong way, and they got lost.
They did find you, didn't they?
Finally,
Okay,
it was cardio. It was really scary.
Right, I understand that.
There might be elders now, people, everybody's getting older. I don't want them to have to wait 45 minutes for an ambulance.
Okay,
Scary when it's a heart situation.
I think we've got deeds under control.
Are those available?
No, I said, I think on the Mr. Losey's property, he's given us deeds
right.
for the property in question.
But to the roads?
I'm not talking about roads. I'm
Well, that's
talking
the
about
only thing I'm
deeds.
concerned about, because we have not gotten any clarity about the roads.
We're just here to talk about the subdivision today.
But
If you have.
I live in the
If you
subdivision.
have concerns.
live there.
Not, we're not
in
talking
this
about that
subdivision.
subdivision.
Okay,
We're
okay,
talking
time
about
out.
these 4 lots today.
You can't subdivide a subdivision without understanding the original subdivision, which now I understand it's 2 subdivisions, and this would be the 3rd one. How can we go
Speaking
forward?
of the subdivision, I would like to ask the lawyer, our town lawyer.
Yes.
Is Sunset Acres still valid? Because in my mind, when he bought all of that property up in through there, that Sunset Acres disappeared. Portion of it at least.
Right.
That's in my mind. So does Sunset Acres still exist? That's a valid
Yes,
question to ask the
Yeah,
lawyer.
correct, he has merged all 3 of the, or 4 lots, what we're saying, 4 lots.
4
of
lots.
land.
It was
All
all one.
now one
He made it all one.
Yeah,
Okay, another question for the lawyer would be the paper roads questions. How long do they stay? According to what I've read, they're 25 years. If they're not used, they're gone. But is there a procedure to make them gone?
Time.
I don't, it might be, it might be, but
But if they're a private road, I don't know if there is a.
if there is a
if-
time
if-
limit,
If there's, well, not so much a time limit, but if it's a private road, I don't know why the town would have a procedure.
no, that's true, that's true. The town wouldn't, because if the
Yeah.
town doesn't own the road and never has owned the road,
There was a,
Correct.
I think this is a question for the lawyer.
Yeah.
There was a recent Supreme Court decision involving paper roads, specifically on the Lincolnville. That, if they were not established, then the rights, return to the deeded owner. And they were found to have ownership over the entirety of the paper road rather than at the midpoint
oh, really?
Yeah.
That was in the last year or 2?
in the last week.
Really?
Wow.
Wow, you're up on.
Just
Good, thank you.
luckily, I think my phone must eavesdrop on me, so I.
Look at that one.
phones do eavesdrop on us, that's my belief.
No, yeah.
So I missed part of that. Who was shown to have ownership?
I can send it to you, Connor.
I'd just like to hear. I couldn't hear.
It was, the original deeded owner, had the ownership of the entire paper
That's
road,
me.
where the boundaries were deeded.
I like it. That's what I was thinking. when I look at the deeds.
I can send you the case.
Okay, let's go with it.
And maybe another question that we can have the lawyers dig into, because they can filter through stuff better and understand stuff better than I certainly can. I mean, is who owns the roads?
Right, well, Mr. Lucy has provided his lawyer's interpretation of that on his property.
If I may,
Yeah,
first of all, with regard to Sunset Acres, that was there are like 8 lots in Sunset Acres, I bought 2 of them. So the other 6 lots, does Sunset Acres exist, was your question?
Yeah,
The 2 lots that I bought are merged into one. Beyond that, I have no knowledge of.
oh, that was like 5 and 6, is that,
Yes, sir.
that was part of Sunset Acres?
It was.
But the lot, there's now 2, 3 and other land was not part of Sunset Acres?
Correct. Now, with regard to ownership of the land. Whoever the boatyard owned was really partially correct. The boatyard owned down to the shore and what direction, that southerly to this line, the end of what is now the Blackbird lot, used to be Crabtree. That, I don't know, it's confusing, but it's not mine, so I'm not worried about it. My land goes over the existing trim lane to the Sequent boundary. And I believe I have responsibility for maintaining that road from what used to be the Crabtree lot up to where Cara Sequent's property begins. Cara owns to the south side of the road, so this becomes her road. I think we all have the right to pass and repass and all that, but in terms of responsibility, I've always considered myself responsible for the portion of trim lane that came through my land. In fact, Dave has been up there talking to me about that. He just redid my driveway and he's looking at trim lane to see what, if anything, needs to be done to it at present. So I think that we each own a section of trim lane. The boatyard owns Marshall Cove Road, and I think we all accept responsibility for the portion of the road that we own. At least I do. And what is before you is the section that I own. So,
Okay. Another question about Sunset Acres, Thomas Dexter and Jerry Jones, those are not part of Sunset Acres?
they were not.
And what about Camp Conundrum and Todd, Robin and Cara, and were those part of Sunset Acres?
Well, Todd can probably speak this better than I. The land up here, Camp Conundrum and where Todd and Robin Ann are. I don't know whether that was part of the original Sunset Acres subdivision or not. I think that was the gravel pit. I don't know whether it was one of those lots or not. It, was beyond my land, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
Todd?
It was one of those lots. It was a gravel pit and that made the road, and it was one of those lots. It looked like the moon when we bought it.
Okay,
It was all dug out. And, yeah, but Steve Olson bought it was a 15 acre, they were big lots. And so it was lot number 7 or something like that originally of Sunset Acres.
okay, but your property was part of Sunset Acres at one point?
Yes, it was, it was part of Steve Olson's lot that he then sold to me. It was part of that, it was all part of lot 7, and then it extends a little into Merritt's old lot, because we bought some land from him to make it a 3 acre lot that we have.
Yeah. Oh. We don't have to vote on sending that stuff to the lawyer for questions, right?
No.
That's an happy motion,
No.
yes, Terry.
I think that the board is sort of chasing a shiny object that is interesting, but not as important as the fact that I think that what Mr. Losi is doing is he's preparing a subdivision of an existing subdivision. And I think that the lots in his drawing there, his subdivision, were originally part of Sunset Acres. He is subdividing Sunset Acres so that this plan.
And
is
what plan
different.
do you have?
Huh?
You got the actual Sunset Acre plan?
Sure,
Is that what that is?
yeah, you should have it, because really what he's
You could
doing
share it with
is
us.
changing this subdivision.
Would you like to share?
And he's
it?
changing the rights that everybody has in the subdivision, because he may be taking some away, he may be adding new, I don't know.
We'll just, more Sunset Acres at this point.
What?
We're gonna wait and talk to our attorney, the town attorney, and make a decision, but I believe Sunset Acres is moot for this particular,
It might be, but it might, but
in terms of.
Why, I'm sorry, why is it moved?
We're gonna ask the attorney that.
It aligns with our tax map. That map is very close to our current tax map. And when you speak to the tax assessors,
Well,
you can
we've
find
never
out.
seen that
why
map,
they-
Terry.
Huh?
We have never seen.
Well, why
that.
not?
We don't have a copy,
Of Sunset Acres map?
correct?
Is there, let me ask a question, is there anything in covenants that says that that says a lot can't be subdivided in for the
There-
Sunset Acres?
Probably not.
So-
Not in the covenants, but there is in the land use ordinance that you can only divide. You know, so many lots out of a piece of lot. And then there's things about if you do some subdivision. Make a certain number of lots, you wait 5 years, maybe you can do more. But there are also things about how many lots can be serviced by a driveway. And that's a maximum of 4 as part of the subdivision. And, I guess there are different lot lines in the subdivision than there are here. He is changing lot lines on Sunset Acres.
and that's why we're trying to find out if Sunset Acres is even a valid thing to be dealing with.
Okay, can I make one other point that is very important? His plan and the small print over there, that the surveyor wrote, number one, does not say it's a subdivision plan. It is in fact really a boundary plan, not a subdivision plan.
It says boundary survey of lands of David
It
and
is
for
titled-
Tim Farm subdivision.
Yeah, it's a subdivision.
I understand that, but there's weasel language in what the engineer wrote.
So you're a lawyer now too, right?
Okay, but the other thing I wanna say is that his rationale. I'm sorry, I have to come up here. This is the proposed road, right? A 50-foot road that was proposed,
Way
came
back
all the way
when,
down to here.
way back when.
That's in subdivision,
Long
all right?
time ago.
And at some point. Jesse Rollerson drew a plan. And I'm not sure who it was for, but drew a plan. That is this plan, okay?
Okay.
This was done in 1985, January of 85. It was approved by 3 members of the planning board who were sitting as, I'm sorry, 3 members of the select board who were sitting as the planning board, making decisions for the planning board.
There was no
Okay,
planning. board.
there is no planning board record of this.
There was no planning board.
I'm sorry,
There was no planning board,
I know, but the selectmen made land use decisions.
correct?
Okay.
That was their responsibility.
All right, and that plan is, it's signed by the planning board, so the signatures are selected.
The road was moved because.
Don't do it, don't do it.
The only point is that when you look at Tara's principal concern is the ownership of the proposed right of way as it borders her land. And David's plan, this plan shows that he owns this property line that abuts Cars, which is lot 7. There are 2 separate lots there, but it's all considered lot 7 at the moment. And his rationale for the fact that his ownership is here is from that plan, okay? The Jesse Rollerson plan. Somebody at some point treated that as a subdivision plan or as an alteration of the subdivision plan. And for a while, even the town assessor maps reflected the changes that are on that. And there are more changes on that than
Yeah, but
just the road.
this is what was.
That lot shows that the access here,
This is what we.
that IME uses, and that all the abutters of Sunset Acres have rights to is 100 foot instead of 50 feet.
Small one.
And it shows that the boundaries of what is Trevor's property, this lot, are different from what shows everywhere else. And because what happens is that on some of the other maps, there's a mysterious triangle here of uncertain ownership. And this plan makes that go away. But that was a feature of the subdivision plan, or down the road as the subdivision plan was changed a bit by various shenanigans. The point simply is that I think what David is doing is he is re-subdividing a subdivision.
Yeah.
And that is a separate process, and that needs to have all the abutters of the subdivision know that their subdivision is being changed. Lot lines are changed, ownership is changed, and
And this is an.
really the citation for what David is showing is the Jesse Rollerson plan. The Jesse Rollerson plan shows several things. It shows that there was no proposed right away here, okay? But it never, nobody ever took the effort to get rid of that.
Yeah.
That exists on paper, and it's always existed on paper. Jesse Rollerson was told that it wasn't there, so he drew this line that abuts cars.
Yeah.
But he didn't show that it was a proposed road, that it was still there. And he also was told that the right of way down to the water was 100 feet instead of 50 feet. So for a while, the town assessment map showed this as being 100 feet.
Abandoned.
And he showed that this lot, these definitions were different because of the confusion that was created by moving from a 50 foot to a 100 foot right of way down to the water, changed this lot dimensions. Okay, and it had to do that, and it had to abandon what was on paper, in reality, a proposed right of way. Without anybody ever saying that, okay, this is the real road, let's abandon this. Nobody was ever noticed that they were gonna abandon this road. But Jesse Rollerson showed it. Point is that Jesse Rollerson's plan is not a subdivision plan. And the point is that this plan, which purports to be a subdivision of a certain amount of land here, is in fact a re-subdivision of a much larger thing. And a lot of the questions that the board is wrestling with would be answered if you considered the original proposal. As far as I'm concerned, the original proposal, Sunset Acres, are the existing lot lines. That's what was created and that's what is there, and there has been no record. There is no record, I can tell you, because I went through the files of the select board for both 84 and 85. Jesse Rollerson plan is dated in January of 85. There's no record of there having been a select board meeting. There's no record of any changes to it or anything else. What happened is that 3 select board members were told correctly that this was the real road, and here's a plan, and they were shown a plan that showed the real road being this way, and it's not a road, it's a right of way. But the right of way was here, and also this plan, the Rollerson plan, shows changes to this, shows changes to this, so it shows changes to this ownership, none of which was approved as part of the subdivision. So if you really want to know what the lots are, this is the plan.
Do you want to pass that in?
Yeah.
What's that? Before I take your
Yeah.
question, I'd like to find out what she was trying to tell me.
Yeah. Actually, one other thing I want to say is that the obligation of the person that is doing the subdivision is to provide all of that information in advance. And there's kind of an obligation, I guess it's informal, for the board or the CEO to review an application and say, is the application complete? You know, and it doesn't look like you've got a complete application.
You.
Pardon?
This is. So this is where no changes.
Yeah.
And this is. Oh, that's what you're saying. And these are now all one. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
So. I kind of.
This one. And this.
That's right. That's a sort of. That's
all. That's all. I mean, that's the.
That's the same thing.
It's not because I'm saying it's. But we don't want, it's moot, it's moot. Or will be once we.
I mean, I guess we need to know if that's what maybe that's the word that is.
But there is a point that we have received the deeds from Mr. Losi regarding the purchase of these various lots.
Right.
And the town map shows that they have all become one lot.
And at that point, he changed the Sunset Acres too by making it all one lot.
The pins that were located. Mr. Losi hired somebody to do a lot of work, and he did do a lot of work locating what markers were there.
Right.
And, both Kara and I worked some with Mr. Losi to help him out, to help find things, and we knew of places that he didn't know of, and we told him about it. Some showed up on the plan, some didn't show up on the plan. But the point is, that information has been on that plan, and that's the effective subdivision. Nobody has changed that subdivision. Between, what's the date on that? 80, I'm not sure what the date is, sometime in the 80s, or maybe late 70s. But nobody has changed that subdivision up until today.
The original plan is 77, I believe.
Yeah.
Sometime in there. The amended one that Jesse Rollison did is 85.
Yeah.
I think
But
And
Jesse
Mr.
Rollerson plan is
Losi,
not an
yeah.
amendment.
And Mr. Losi has purchased these lots in the interim, since that time period, since 1985.
Right,
Those lots are moot, they're now one large lot.
okay,
So
but the ownership boundaries of that one large lot are the same, and those boundaries have never been, in Kara's case, has never been on her property line, with Mr. Losi having the 50 feet abutting her property line and going towards the water. But his boundary and his surveyors in the original plan showed that his boundaries were on the, I'm gonna say the left, looking at Trim Lane. His boundaries were on the left, Trevor's boundaries were on the left, and Kara's boundaries were on the right. And between those two sets of boundaries was 50 feet, which was the proposed right of way. Now, arguably, that proposed right of way was owned by the people that did Sunset Acres development. You know, there's a list of 4 or 5 people of various repute who put it all together. And they owned the whole piece, like Bill was just talking, but it was a much bigger piece than this. And then they sold lots, and they sold the lot and left the road, okay? There is a road or a right of way to most of the lots that were part of the subdivision. But the actual rights of way were owned by Sunset Acres. And then they might have, I say might, because I'm not sure about this, they might have conveyed to Islesboro Marine Enterprises and to Earl. And then at some point it gets confused. I'm not sure that anybody now owns those rights of way or owns the roads. And they definitely do not own the property line up to the property line that is Kara's for lot 7. Because there's no deed that will tell you that.
No, the-
Can I say something?
You certainly can.
This sounds to me like this is a boundary dispute between Kara and Mr. Losi, and that is
No.
the
what I'm
ownership of
disputing.
that 50-foot right of way is a boundary dispute, I would say.
Neither of us
So-
own that land and a paper road should be divided down the middle. Neither of us
You know,
ever owned
that,
it.
that,
Neither of us ever owned it. Neither of us ever owned
that's
it.
between
I-
you two.
It's also
No,
on deeds.
it's a
Right away
shared
on
asset.
deeds,
If
usually.
they are-
I've seen it on
If
deeds.
you, excuse me, to interrupt, but if you approve this plan. You are changing a subdivision. And you are changing deeds that were part of that subdivision that are supposed to be unchanged. At least without public notice for people.
We're not approving anything today.
Okay, I know that. But I'm saying when you start talking about, well, if we approve this, approve that, the point is. You are being asked to make an action. That is based not on fact. Okay,
Okay. Here's what I propose. We run our questions by the lawyer, find out what the lawyer says. We'll go from there. We also set up a site review to go look at property lines, go look at everything we're supposed to look at. I know there's no distances on a site review here that we have to deal with,
No.
but definitely we can get a look at roads. We can get a look at, not just roads or right of ways, but, condition of these things. So I do propose that we do a site review. To look at it. Do I have a second?
Second,
All, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, say nay. Now, site review. We need people to go to this. I would like to go to this one. I feel like I need to go to this one.
Okay.
Who wants to go with it?
I think I can make it there.
Well,
That would be
No.
is that a conflict?
Yeah, I think it is.
What's that?
Cause I'm in the butter, it's
Yeah,
probably a
it's
conflict.
conflict in terms of.
I think it's a conflict as far as voting goes,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure it would be a conflict as far as that goes, unless.
well, I think we should have one of the members.
should be a regular member, probably.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I'm not trying to make you see that.
When my tenure is up, you might be a regular member.
I don't know.
didn't you just sign again for 3 years?
All right, so Bill and
Joe.
Isabel? Okay. When is our next?
I would like to join you, whatever you choose to do.
Well, it's not gonna be a public meeting,
No,
so I don't think we can say no. But.
I'll behave myself.
That's-
right.
All right, so your next planning board meeting is September 11th,
Okay,
so you wanna do it sometime before that, I'm saying.
absolutely. And if he's got flags on it right now,
Mhm.
I mean, the sooner the better.
So much better. How about next Tuesday?
A week from tomorrow.
Yeah.
Day after Labor Day,
Day after Labor Day.
yeah.
We've got, say,
School hours, school hours.
10 o'clock,
That's how we do.
Mr. Lowe. Will that work for you?
Our soils evaluator will be out on Labor Day.
That's right, yeah.
I'll just stay there.
But I would like to know what the rules would be for that day. The board has to make its view and is entitled to the information that is available from observing things. But in terms of additional information, comments, et cetera, I'd like to know what the rules are going to be.
It's gonna be, the rules on a site review, basically, unless it's a public meeting. It should be just the planning board members, the property owner. I mean,
And if other people come.
other people can come, but it's not a commentary section.
But this is not a time for
It's not.
anybody, including me, to be speaking to the board unless the board asks me a
Unless we
question.
ask you a
That's right.
question.
Okay, thank you. Just two other things. The first is this line between me and Sigmund. That line came off the deed that I got from L.S. Grinnell and Randlett, who created the subdivision. Hadn't changed. Second thing, I guess that's three things. The second thing was, I heard the comments about the small print over here, about how awful.
That's ocean over there, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
That's ocean over there, isn't it?
Well, this, the subdivision,
Oh.
this language here.
Oh, that's not-
I understand that was, the surveyors are pretty bad for doing that. It's one of the few times that I, as a lawyer, have been in a room and somebody's been accused of being lower than a lawyer. So I'm happy now, I'll take that as a win and I'll go home. But the third thing is that, yeah, we're changing lot 5 and 6. We're part of lot 1, remove that line on the south side of lot 1 down, I don't know, 8 feet, 10 feet, something like that.
Right, in my mind, I don't, that's why I'm asking the lawyer, in my mind, that makes, that's, in my mind, and I'm not a lawyer.
There's no rule that says that once a subdivision is created, it can never be changed. That seems to be a misapprehension. Yep, it's gonna be changed. That's exactly why I'm here.
So we just need an official answer to that from us.
And the only other thing I comment on is that, that your other land of David and Joan Lucy should be listed as lot 4.
You want to put a lot 4 notation on that?
Yeah.
Lot 4 NFS, not for
Yeah.
sale. Because that, we're not asking approval for anything on lot 4. That's just a piece of dirt.
Why do you mean lot 4?
Well, I,
Because all of it was one lot,
Yeah.
including that, and it had to, if you're gonna subdivide the rest of it,
That technically, he is creating 4 lots,
technically.
even though he only wants to sell 3, technically, he is creating.
But we're not asking for approval of that 4th lot,
That's
so it's
true,
not a
so-
lawful lot to be sold.
well, we can ask,
Yeah.
should be labeled. All right. Well,
Add that to your attorney list.
Well, Rose, do we need to bring that up?
That's something we can discuss maybe on
That's-
site review
Yeah.
and look it up. Cause that's why I wanna see the conditions of the,
Yeah,
Right
we
away.
did, we did get, recommendation from our lawyer about, road frontage
Yeah.
for lot 4 is insufficient.
rough. But he wasn't looking for road frontage a lot for, but
so that would be the question. Does he has the right of way going up to? Up to that 4?
Yeah. Oh, that would be a question that the lawyer was, where he's. Where. It won't be for sale, but it's still a part of the subdivision, does that have to have? How much is it, 150 feet?
Holding copies of that.
Yeah, a legal lot should have 150 feet.
but there are landlocked lots all over the place, right?
But for a new subdivision,
Okay, so add that to the question for the lawyers.
yeah, it was.
Jennifer, will you create a list of questions?
Pass it
Yeah, I
around.
got that one.
Number 2.
The 2,
Deals with
yeah,
road frontage.
yeah, it says if the right of way is extended down another 150 feet into the reserved 4th lot.
Or across the boundary,
Right.
so either,
That would satisfy that standard, but
they're here and there.
right,
So
but that's just to get. That's just to get sufficient frontage for what?
For lot 4.
Plan.
For the other land.
Paper road.
Okay, and that's a requirement,
Will they get no access?
is it a requirement that it has it?
And Christine Collins is a.
You can't create that situation.
And this is our lawyer, Christian Collins.
Yeah. So if he writes into the deed, the lot four, there's a 150-foot way that right now goes right to the lot line. So if it's provided for in the deed for lot four, that satisfies it.
Yeah.
Right, right?
I'm sorry, I didn't follow.
So when you have a deed created for lot four,
Yep.
are you planning to provide for 150-foot, or can you make sure that 150-foot right of way is written into that deed for lot four?
Yes,
Right.
we have no intention to do that now, that may be years away, but yes, and I perfectly have to accept that as a condition of approval.
Also for Todd and Robin and Camp Conundrum, they all lose their access. Everybody back here has no access. On this plan, takes away everybody behind there's access. Access to. This is a communal asset. The paper road as it is the only access to. This was lot 11 on Sunset Acres.
Is anybody using
Lot
it?
access
that road?
for
road that's there.
access.
But
It
nobody uses
also-
it.
Yeah, you don't use that. How does Todd get to his house? He uses trim lane.
He goes across my property and he goes across the Losey's property.
Right.
It's all
on
right of
trim
way.
lane, not on a paper road.
Trim Lane is on the Losey's land. When they take away what should be divided down the middle, there is no access for the Camp Conundrum, Todd and Robin Ann. Nor the Dexters. They're not allowed to just cut off access.
I mean,
I'm sure somebody's gonna put it right of way on there, whenever they do that. Cause they can't take away your access.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Why would we want to do it on paper if we can't do it?
Didn't take
I
away on
also
paper.
lose my frontage on Trim Lane.
I still maintain you
Which
don't
is
have
what-
frontage right here.
I do. And having a buffer and making this less than a
The site
buildable lot
review
is
will
of
show
high
it, 'cause you'll
interest
see
for
the
me.
property lines. And according to this paper too, I'm with you, Bill. That street is way far away from her property line.
What? It is my property line. I will bring you the previous deed. I own the 50
You
feet.
didn't understand what I said.
I don't wanna have to use the hammer, let's fill out a little bit.
I can't see how we can even be talking about a subdivision without talking about roads. I just feel like this is another planet.
That's why we're going out there to look, for one reason, to look at
Well-
roads.
How can you make a plan without roads? That's the problem up there already. This shows that Camp Road is what is now,
There's no camp
well-
road on our map.
there it is.
That's fine. That's-
It's now
that's
Marshall
cool.
Cove Road.
Yeah, that was 85. We're in 2025.
It's still on the sat nav. It's still on our emergency medical
I've heard enough
system.
of it, all right?
Right, really.
So,
It's a broken
We are-
record,
We are building problems upon problems. I think it's
only to
really
you.
a mess. No, to any of us who live there. 11 lots from Sunset
Okay, 11
Acres, which
people.
we live there. We're still there. We're in Sunset
Okay, we're
Acres.
done with you. You said we're done with
easy,
you.
easy.
This is just lunacy. How can you not talk about roads? It's a subdivision. You build roads and then you get to the properties.
Did I say I'm talking to lawyers about who owns roads?
Yeah,
There, I think I saw deeds from Todd and. Or to Todd and Robin, didn't I see deeds?
We had a corrective deed, we had a couple of deeds over the access, but basically, the ownership of Trim Lane, we had a corrective deed that said yes. Dave and Joan own the part that goes over, lot one on this map. And that we own about 150 feet, 165 feet of it between Trevor and that's what we have, it, and of course, it's a contested deed apparently, but it has never been contested legally. So, so anyway, the Losi's and, the Congdons and the Dexters signed a corrected deed that says, yes, they indeed own that, we own the little part down there, and that Trim Lane does not have, provide a right of way to that Corby lot that's way down at the bottom of the, map, the part that isn't part of the subdivision. I mean, that's what lot 4 has been billed as. So that,
Not part of David's subdivision, but it is part of Sunset Acres.
it was not, Corby was not part of Sunset Acres. It was it was it was a lot without a right of way other than the water. Originally.
If I can explain it, at one point. Alpro Marine, Mackenzie sold Trim Lane to Congdon and Dexter. Alpro Marine didn't own it. They may have owned down to this point, but they didn't own this. And we were able to insist that they, your lawyer, execute a deed of reconveyance back to us. So once again, this has been restored to our ownership.
Tara,
Private roads are owned to the middle by the abutters. That's the state of Maine law. None of these roads have deeds. They did not inform all of the people in the subdivision ever. Therefore, none of this happened. I mean, you own to the center line is how I'm taxed. I asked the tax assessors, how do you tax? I pay in the middle of the roads. I'm paying for it. They don't own it. Nobody knows who owns it. How does it happen on the rest of the miles of roads?
does Trim Lane goes across Marshall Cove, does it not? Because you mow a lawn down on there, that's Trim Lane also, isn't it?
No. Yeah, on the other side.
The
Yes.
other side, it
Yeah,
is
so you
Trim
can
Lane.
turn left from Marshall Cove and you can turn right.
Yeah,
And those lots are also part of Sunset Acres.
they are.
The first 4.
Well, let's see. We've got questions for the lawyer. Do we have any other questions for the lawyer? We've got a site review we're supposed to do, the Tuesday
Tuesday, the 3rd,
at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Don't let me miss this one.
All right. I will send you a reminder.
What's that date, the 3rd?
9/3, yeah.
The 10.
All those rebar posts are existing, or did your survey add any?
He added some, there's some, it says right here, rebar set, rebar found, rebar set, rebar found.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Mhm.
It's shown on the map, like this one is a new one. This
So
one
we
was
asked you to do
reset
this.
because it
I'm
was
sorry?
in the middle of the road, a little over it, so they pulled and reset it. So, but it's marked on the map.
Thanks.
And there's a half-inch rebar found, half-inch pipe found with stone. Oh. So they're either set or found, and I haven't seen one on here that says not found. And we'll take this with us. So what else do we have on this one? We essentially tabled it, but we didn't specifically table it, did we?
Not tonight.
No, I wanted clarification on your motion, actually.
Okay,
So that last one that you just voted on, was that just for the site review?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes, because we said, did we say we didn't need to vote on sending something to the lawyers and?
Right,
checking that?
you don't- Yeah, you could just send it.
so maybe table it for
Answer back from,
lawyers'
Lawyers
questions and
Site
site
review.
review.
yeah, okay,
So
we need to redo that,
No, another, no, you don't need to redo, just another motion for tabling.
I'm sorry,
I don't think you need to redo the last motion. Just have a new one for tabling this
okay,
and what you're tabling it for.
and we're tabling it for site review and answers from the lawyer, is that correct?
I move we
Sounds good to me.
table application MD 124 for site review and responses from the lawyer. The town attorney.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. All right. So in my mind, that means we can move on to new business.
Yeah.
It's okay, Mr. Lawson, to keep these.
I think we're supposed to keep them, I think they're for us.
Yeah.
I'll take this one, let's be recorded.
This one, I.
They have my, yes.
You probably have a better chance of finding that. Coffee spills on it.
Yeah.
Where are we doing with those?
Very well.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, where are we?
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. Land use ordinance, new business, land use ordinance, Steve Anderson, map 29, lot 12B, application LU 39-24 to build a 336 square foot addition with one additional bathroom using existing infrastructure.
We have to listen to what they're saying. Excuse me,
Should I write it?
Yeah.
Part of the meeting?
Yeah.
I don't.
What's it all?
Oh, middle.
Yeah. No.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Do we have a representative here for the applicant?
Hello, yes, I'm here on Zoom, Steve Anderson, on behalf of myself and my wife, Holly Willis, who wasn't able to join us today.
Thank you.
Oh.
And if I could, I'll just say how much I appreciate being able to join by remote. We're back in California now, and it's really great to be able to A, see what happens with these meetings, and B, to be able to do this from such a long way away.
All right, well, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Actually, I forgot we even had the monitor up there.
He's been waiting patiently this whole time.
Yeah.
All right. So walk us through this.
So this is a house that my wife and I built about 25 years ago, from a shelter kit in New Hampshire. That's a 24 by 32 structure with a loft. So it's about, maybe 800 or 900 square feet. So we're just hoping to build a fairly small addition, adjoining the house and sharing the deck. We're again going back to shelter kit, which means we're going to do almost all the construction ourselves. So it's a 336 square foot. It's got a deck on the front and a very small loft inside. So it's just something that's going to give us a little bit more living space. We're spending more time there as we move toward retirement. It's great to have kind of an office space over in the addition. And And that's about it. The image that is included in the permit application shows all of the setbacks. It's basically in the geometric center of our lot. And I did measurements, you know, to the road, to the septic, to the well, to the leaching field and all of that. I'm hoping that that shows that pretty clearly what all those setbacks are.
I believe it does.
Yeah.
And as you can see, we're not going to be cutting any more trees. We cut 100 trees to put in the original house, but this area is pretty flat. A little bit of grading, I think, but not much. Yeah, I don't know what else is relevant to mention.
Not adding any bedrooms, no.
Nope, no new bedrooms.
It's pretty cut and dry.
The septic system is adequate for what he's wanting to do.
Well, do you say in the application will have one additional? Oh, bath.
Yeah, so I don't think septic comes into play here.
We do have a drawing of the septic that you say is acceptable.
Yeah, well, it doesn't come into play because he's not adding any bedrooms.
Right.
True.
But the application
True.
says he's,
The application says he's adding a bathroom.
Yeah, it's,
Septic design goes by bedroom.
Right, septic design goes by bedrooms.
We actually may be eliminating the one small bedroom downstairs in the original house, but whether it's one bedroom or two, we're not going over two.
And there is a septic system for two.
Yes.
Yes.
Septic system, I believe, is actually for 3, so.
But as you said, it's not adding
Yes, it
bedrooms,
does,
so
it
the
doesn't.
septic
Yeah.
system is,
It's-
all we need to know is distances, and we have that.
Yep. Yeah, this one's strictly a setback.
Right.
Good.
It does, and does anybody feel there's a need for a site review? I don't hear anybody saying anything.
I don't.
Yeah, it's
It's
just an
far
addition,
away
not-
from everything.
Oh,
It is in the middle of the lot.
I move that a site review is not required for application 39-24.
I second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
I move that application 39-24 is complete.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
I move the board approve application 39-24.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. So that means you did a pretty good job with your application, and Carrie will type one up. She'll text me that it's ready to be signed, and go from there.
Okay, thank you so much. And I got some good advice from David early on, so it wasn't just us. But thank you very much for considering.
Thank you.
Well, you gave.
Steve, are we mailing that permit to you?
Oh, that would be lovely. Yes, to our Los Angeles address if that's on there.
Okay, great. I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. No development review, ordinance new, other business CEO report. I think I saw one.
Yep. July of last year, as you can see, was not a very busy month.
July what?
July of last year, as you can see from that, wasn't a very busy month.
Of last year.
Yeah, I think there's only one thing on previous.
Oh, is that?
Yeah.
Is that what that is?
Yeah,
That's from a year ago?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought.
Yeah, this, the stuff on top is current,
I thought that was
and the one
just
below is.
the last time you built one of these out.
Nope. No.
You learn something new every day, don't you?
Um,
Certainly did.
What's Billy Tilden doing? Is he gonna?
He's gonna
build
put a log,
more?
he's gonna put a log cabin in there.
Yeah,
He's
that,
gotta move, he's gotta make a road to where he wants it.
well, yeah, cause the driveway that he's been using for all these years to get to that, well, it used to be a trailer back there,
Right.
but that's gone now.
The trailer's gone?
Yes,
Yeah, he burns it.
yeah, that is gone. The last time you
Right,
Carl,
that's
yeah. I-
not our business.
Yeah. That's another thing, but the road that he was using to access that belongs to Brigham, and
Oh,
now he wants his own. Because
Yeah.
he's gonna, when he starts construction on whatever he's gonna build up there, he doesn't wanna damage the Brigham's road,
Yeah,
so he's making his own
yeah.
access to it.
So when did I come in for my permit? Was it July or August?
August,
Okay, so that'll be on the next.
that'll be on the next one, yeah.
Trying to do things the right way.
Of course.
Essentially, my mailbox that I put up on the end of our driveway to put eggs in is basically a sign, so.
I tried to tell him it was a mailbox, but he.
That's an awesome mailbox.
So I went in after the fact to get that. I thought of it as I was driving through Camden one day and I said, you know. And he tried to tell me it's a mailbox, but we don't get mail delivered there, so.
you were fined heavily, right?
I was fined heavily, I was chastised. All right. People wishing to address the planning board.
Yes.
Someone.
I would like to make a push
Hang
for
on,
the.
Hello, this is Pink Steiner.
hi. Say your name again,
Pinkney Steiner.
okay?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to get the video to start.
We don't need a video talk.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
we can hear you, so.
Okay, so I'm currently purchasing lots 8 and 9 on map 36.
Okay,
And I'm looking at planning for our land use. And we're looking to build a house on lot 8 for ourselves and a guest house adjacent to it. And then I would like to do some agriculture. So I'm looking to build a greenhouse as well.
okay,
And then on lot 9, to build a house, and we were looking at building 4 small residential structures, which we would like to use as short-term rentals.
okay,
And the issue that we're trying to address is that a lot of this is in resource protection and limited development. And we're wanting to make sure that we meet the requirements in our plan to match what the town expects in those areas.
where are you located right now?
I'm unfortunately in Shanghai, in China.
I see,
They used to own the Abbey.
what's that?
They used to own the Abbey. They
Okay,
do have to.
So we're making our plan to return. We would be moving back to Islesboro in 2 years when I
yeah,
finish the contract here. And this would be our main residence, and then we were looking to use the small residential units as part of our income on the island, and providing at least some opportunity for people to be on the island in the summer.
yeah.
Um,
My first response would be to have you talk to Dave come in and talk to Dave, but you're in Shanghai right now, so.
Well, I've been in communication with Dave, about
we've got-
this, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to talk to the planning board, to see if there were any things that we needed to modify, from this, idea. So it's not, we don't have a plan that's drawn yet. I've got a sketch of the concept, but I'm just trying to find out if there's something that I've missed, in our thinking.
Okay,
This is excuse me, this is a 47-acre lot,
okay.
okay?
How much is resource protection?
That's the thing, it's part of it's rural, part of it's resource protection, part of it's limited development.
Okay,
So there's a little bit of everything going on there.
where he's wanting to do.
Where he's wanting to do it. Without seeing an actual plot plan,
Yeah,
it's gonna be hard to determine where everything's gonna fall. But, and you'd have to look at the thing, cause resource protection, it specifically says there's no commercial development,
right,
and houses or structures have to be within a certain size. Limited development is less restrictive than resource protection. But we've got to figure out if basically, Peggy, we probably, we're gonna need to see a site plan or something as to what you're proposing before we can
Okay,
really.
well, I've made a sketch, but I haven't sent it to you in advance because I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
If I can turn the video on, I can show you the sketch, if that would help you.
I think, maybe I can clarify a little. So there is some rural in there.
right,
Right? And so, and there's 2 lots, okay? And I believe the plan is within the rural area to build the primary house on one, and then a guest house and the greenhouse. Well, actually, the guest house would be outside of the rural area, probably in resource protection or limited development. And then on the other lot, there is more rural, so there would be another small house. And then outside within rural resource protection or limited development, some more small dwelling units. So the way I understand it, so within the rural area, okay, there's no limitation on square footage for all structures.
As long as everything's met.
They provide
It's-
them.
Yes, yep.
setbacks.
And, you know, and there's plenty of acreage, right? So outside of the rural, you could have, your other smaller dwelling units.
Except that, did I just hear no commercial in the
In resource protection.
resource protection?
Yeah.
So you couldn't have any of those buildings, other than maybe a greenhouse, if he's not selling stuff out of the greenhouse, but. But the way I understand it, what you're saying is you couldn't have those small ones in the resource because he's planning on rentals and such.
Does that count as commercial activity?
I'm not sure.
Right.
That's a good question.
They're just dwelling units.
I'm not sure who it does.
That would be a question for the attorney. to see.
That is a good question.
And do you think have you looked at our, oh, you probably haven't even seen it, our new accessory dwelling unit revisions to our ordinance as to whether any of these would apply?
They seem to apply to me as dwelling units, and there's the
Rather than
acreage to
accessory
support it,
Yeah.
right? There's plenty of acreage to add dwelling units.
As long as septic, it can handle the septic.
Right, yeah,
Right, right.
yeah, yeah, there need to be soil there for a septic. So why wouldn't they just be considered dwelling units?
I don't know. And I don't know if it's, if they're renting them out, if that's considered commercial either,
I
so
don't think it is.
It's a gray area,
I'm sure.
but I would like to have the town attorney weigh in on it, but
Mhm.
I know there's a lot of people renting places out here
Yeah,
that are not zoned in commercial areas, I mean, it's.
Right,
So,
yeah.
But having more than one, I.
Commercial would be if he set up a garage and was operating a garage
Yeah.
or,
or store. or-
yeah,
So these are just dwelling units, they're not
right,
running a business out of them.
right.
But where there's 4 of them. That might change it.
That is a
A
business.
question for the attorney.
Yeah.
That is a business.
I mean, you could say like one unit that had like 4 bedrooms rented out separately. I don't think it matters that it's separate units. I think it's the
Yeah.
number of bedrooms qualified for the subject.
Yeah,
Right.
sounds worth pursuing.
And, would you have to, have someone check where the resource protection actually is, like what happened back here?
Yeah, well, that happens part of this that's part of the site evaluation.
Mhm.
You know, the guy that, oddly enough, the site evaluator. Is gonna be looking for slope and soils for septage and everything else. And in the book. The green book, anyway, it mentions that in the resource protection and the limited development. If you can prove that there's acceptable soils and slopes to actually. Maybe not be in the resource protection, then you can treat it as the underlying. Which would be rural.
Yeah.
Right,
Mhm.
so you'd wanna have that.
But that's none of us, that's,
That's his due diligence and.
Yeah, and so. There is, so, Will Aldrich did do soil tests out
Right.
there, okay?
you said he did,
He did 4, and now, of course, this map is squiggly lines with no measurements, right?
right,
So that's a problem. But if you match up the survey to the map, right now, it looks like 2 of them are in the rural. 1 may or may not be in rural, might be in limited development, it's right on the, and then 1 is in resource protection.
Mhm.
But, Will felt like there was plenty more areas, he just stopped at 4.
right,
So. Now, back to the health center, right? That almost seems like a completely different subject, actually, because back
Yeah.
there, it was zoned as resource protection hydraulic.
Hydric soils.
Yeah,
So,
and
what-
and they're not looking to build in
What
those
resource
areas.
protection is it, that area? There are different types.
It just, according to the map, it's just RP, regular resource protection, it's not, it
That's
doesn't
helpful.
designate whether it's resource protection, hydro soils, or, it would say RP,
Actually, there
it
are
would say
some places-
RPH or something like that.
Yeah, there is some RPH, but they're not looking to do anything in the
Where
R.
is this?
There's one here.
It's right near.
So, you know where Arthur Ashley's little house with the pond in front of it is? It's out in behind all
Oh,
that,
Linda
in
Grant.
the grass, yeah.
Yeah. So they are there.
Isn't that all, Dave? Isn't that all of resource protection in a special area?
Not all of it, no. Not all of it.
No. It's resource protection.
Resource
is
protection,
resource
limited
protection,
development, and rural is what's on the map.
Hydraulic or.
Yeah.
I thought it was hydraulic, what's the word?
Hydric soils, wetland. No.
well,
Mhm.
I wonder what they were mapping. Interesting.
You know, when it was mapped,
it's sounding sort of like
Soil
it's
conditions can-
possible to do what you're doing with the limited information that we have right now.
Yeah.
And once it's finalized, it's just gonna be up to us to go through it and look to see if you've dotted all your i's and crossed all your t's and met the requirements that are required.
Thank you so much for your information. It's nice to know that it seems like it looks possible at this point, and that's what we're trying to understand in due diligence.
Yeah.
And we're excited to be able to come back to Islesboro.
All right, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make a quick comment?
Sure.
I think the board ought to look at the table of land uses. Which has the subcategories for each of the possible areas could be. I'm not sure that that short-term rentals are an allowable use on the island anywhere. I don't
What?
know.
What?
And the way that the table of land uses works is it identifies what is possible. If something is not on the table of land uses, it's not possible.
You're
Even
gonna
though
have to
you
show
might
me,
think it
Terry.
is.
Dig it up and show me. Or show
You're from
us.
Missouri, huh?
Yeah, I'm from Missouri, show me. Yeah,
Okay.
don't make me look for it, you show me.
Residential use is
all I'm saying is
residential
that-
use.
Part of your review. Kind of offering people advice, the couple ought to include what the table of land uses says you could do on that land. As well as the separate distinctions for resource protection or limited development or blah, blah, blah. And the other thing is where those things overlap. The more restrictive is what controls.
That's right, more restrictive is under control, like if it was on shoreland, it would be shoreland.
Mhm.
Yeah, commercial can occur in resource protection.
It may not be commercial anyway.
Right. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I missed the end. No. No, I'm so sorry, you said no.
You said on non-commercial, is that right?
Yeah. What? Just don't understand what
But
research.
that's if it's commercial.
Right.
If it's just
But
residential,
Terry
if
was
it's
saying
just
something about rentals.
Yeah, we have
rental,
short-term
dwelling units, rentals, I mean, we just went through LD 2003, trying to add, you know, places for people to live on the island,
Yeah, yeah.
okay? And so, and in the state of Maine just said that you can add dwelling units if you've got the acreage, you know, and here on
And
the
meet
island, it's
setbacks.
1.5 acres, okay? 47 acres, there's plenty of acreage to
Yes,
add
there is.
dwelling units.
Yeah. And they might wind up selling them, or doing whatever, having kids and.
Who knows what they do later, but right now, you're allowed to have additional dwelling units if you have the acreage.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
All right. We are at correspondence, and I guess the only correspondence is this class that is mandatory for Trevor to go to.
Oh, you haven't been
You've never been to one yet?
It's useful, yeah.
And refreshers for us if we choose to, correct?
Yeah, I wish there was a shorter one for refresher, but you'd have to sit through the whole.
Sit through the whole 4 hours.
What is it exactly? How long is it?
4 hours.
4 hours.
Did you just do this?
I thought it was.
That's a long meeting for anybody.
It was longer.
No,
Really
it's
exciting.
riveting stuff too.
Yeah.
Now, but for somebody new,
Let me
it's
know.
really.
I'll
Yeah,
have to
sure.
sign everybody
You
up.
should get that download a copy of the planning board manual, because I think that's basically.
You've got one.
Okay.
I think you've got.
Yeah,
This might be it.
and you get that through the MNA website, and I think you just need to get signed up. Password to get on.
I already got that. I requested one and I think it was approved.
Oh, you did, okay,
Yeah,
I was
I'm
gonna
all set.
say, let me know and, or,
Now, are
or
you
let
going to the
Janet know.
on-site one or you going to the Zoom one?
I'm gonna decide in the day, but I probably wanna get out of the house, so if anybody wants a carpool,
Where is it?
then I guess the.
I went to the first one I went to was on-site, and then I haven't been to another one, but another refresher, I mean,
I mean, I get an excuse to eat out.
right?
Yeah, so Janet said if anybody wants to do it, to let me or her know, and she'll sign people up through the town, we have an account.
Is it an overnighter for us, or is it off island, then get back on island?
I think it's our responsibility.
I just,
What
I got a
time?
daughter that lives close to Augusta, so I mean,
Yeah, usually they're in the evening.
I thought it was in
Yeah.
Portland, it's in, It's in Augusta.
Augusta, I thought it was from like 8:30 to 4:30.
Oh, this one's in Augusta?
No, it's 4:30 to 8:30.
Okay.
I think at night.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so you
There it is.
wanna come back, you got to have
Maybe
quick.
it's-
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong, or I read it wrong.
The Zoom,
The Zoom.
the Zoom meeting is 4:30 to 8:30,
Uh-huh.
and the in-person. It's 12 hours. The in-person is. What is that? 4:30 to 8:30. Dinner is provided.
And it's in Augusta?
Mhm.
But I'm gonna Zoom because I have to be working on the paper, so.
Yeah, I would Zoom.
Yeah, it's 4:30 to 8:30. I think, so. Yeah, can't be in Augusta after dark.
Yeah, I mean, I guess after dark.
That area up behind by the MMA is pretty scary.
Oh.
And we did get that letter. We got 2 letters, actually.
The letter from,
Mr. Dexter and Mr. McKenzie.
the letter from Earl McKenzie and the letter from.
Tom Dexter.
Dexter?
Mhm.
Yeah, that was in our package.
What do we do with that?
It just add it to your collection with Losi stuff, because that's what it.
We don't have to
Yeah.
tell them.
Does that get added into like minutes or record?
No, just that we received it, but it goes with the application.
All right.
Early, you know.
And that's our copy. We don't have to, we've got one already in the green folder.
Yep.
What happens to those? Does that get forwarded to the town lawyer or anything, or does that need to get forwarded to town lawyer, or? Because
It's up
it's,
to you.
Yeah, that's up to you. I mean, you can, if
I wanna
you
read
tell,
it.
if you tell Carrie to just forward everything to the lawyer and say, hey, what do you think of this? And-
I think at least the
Gonna get a lot
2
of billable
Dexter
ad hours out of
letters.
this.
Yeah, the 2 Dexter letters, maybe girls, but I don't,
I think,
yeah, Marshall Coburn is a.
well, Marshall Colvin, yeah. It's,
There are lots of private
it's,
roads.
somebody's talking about roads and what we have to do to roads and how far we have to take roads.
The town select board would have to agree to take it over.
Yeah, I said, yeah, but it's also, you know,
Yeah. Pay for it.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they ought to see what we're seeing. You know, cause I'm not a
Well, we
lawyer.
can ask her, cause she didn't wanna get into the right of way.
No, and
It's more like Todd.
and if anybody has issues with where pins are located, they can do their own surveys. And contest it, property boundaries can be contested.
Well, once she sees Dexter's letters, we can say whether or not, but that'd be more expense to the town,
Yeah,
so. I don't know, I'd have to check with Janet. Whether
Cause-
that's going for applicant.
okay. I have no additional business. Good. Aren't you glad you came back?
Yeah.
I'm really adjourned.
I have a piece of information.
We're
I'd like to
done.
add.
We had a motion to.
We're done.
I have.
You can
a
save it
piece
for next
to
time,
submit
Cara.
For this meeting, it's really a critical piece of evidence
Turn it
before
in.
you all go look up there at
Turn it in.
a false map. So
Any
I wanted
discussion
to
on
submit this here.
adjournment?
It's,
We're done. All in favor, say aye.
excuse me.
Aye. All right.
I wanna submit this within the meeting that's just happened.
Well, we're done. You have to do it at the next meeting.
No,
You
because
submitted?
it
No,
needs,
you're wrong.
it needs to be submitted before you all go up into the woods and work
You
off of a
submitted.
map that's incorrect.
Be here by whenever you submit it.
Carrie, I'd like to submit this. I talked to Carrie within the bounds of the meeting and I asked if I could submit it for this meeting. It's critical evidence. It proves that I own the 50 feet in question. It's a survey done by the Losies, as they've done many, and it shows the markers.
It's fine, we're leaving, going home.
Carrie, how can I submit it within the meeting?
I don't know.
It's over with. You wait till the next meeting.
I thought you were submitting a note,
No,
not
it's a piece
evidence.
of evidence that really needs to go on the reconnaissance of my missing marker.
Well, we have to go by the chair's decision. I thought you were submitting a statement and not
Well,
evidence.
it's evidence.
One corner wall, so evidence.
It's,
Just go ahead and submit what you got.
it's a survey that is really important, gets in because it is the 50 feet that I've been questioning and it's my property.
Write a letter and submit it to the planning board for.
I'm submitting it to the planning board. I
It would be
I
nice.
took 3 hours, I work 60 hours a week. I don't have time to sit down and write a letter. This is pushing me over the edge.
How about a note?
I did look in the town drawer and I found the evidence. Here it is. It needs to go up on the survey. Roads count. They're part of a subdivision. If they had
I guess.
counted on that.